More than half of UK exports have been affected by the Houdini disruption, a survey shows. We're going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline of more than half of UK exports have been affected by the Houdini disruption, a survey shows. The costs are escalating amid delays, according to the British Chambers of Commerce research that shows that UK retailers have also been hit. Guys, while you're here, if you can, hit the like button and share across social media so others are notified of this video. So this, I'm not so much keen on the survey because, to be honest, guys, this is something that really generally should not surprise people. Now, just to give a bit of background and context into this, so obviously what's happening, this is basically stems from what's happening in Gaza and Israel, basically. So the Houdinis, who are backed and supplied by the Iran Revolutionary, who think that Israel should not have a place in the Middle East, who wants to go. Saudi Arabia, who is backing the Yemenis government, but the Yemenis has a proportion of its an uprising took place, and that is what the Houdinis are, who have a portion of Yemen's country. And the Houdinis, which are also greatly well supplied and well run, have stated on numerous occasions that they will stop disruption in the Red Sea if there is a ceasefire called within the Gaza Strip. It's only been for a couple of months now that the Houdinis have been causing this disruption. This has not been something that they've been doing for a long time. The last couple of months there's been really damaging, not just to British retailers, but to the global trade supply itself. The trade network that supplies, obviously, from Europe to Asia is vital for not just for British economy, but for all economies here, and it's deeply affecting us. And the only way this is going to change at the moment, there's only one or two options. Either one is that the UK and the US blast the Houdinis to absolutely oblivion, which I don't think they're going to do. Which they could, but I just don't think that's the humane way to deal with things. Or B, they could actually, America could pull its finger out and actually do something about Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, about the way he's kind of treating the fact that more than coming up to 30,000 Palestinians are dead within the Gaza Strip as a result of the way that Israel are handling that situation. And there in time is likely that the disruption that the Houdinis are causing will probably likely stop. Now, the US and the UK have done strikes within Houdini-controlled territory of Yemen, as opposed to try and stop the disruption that they are doing on the Red Sea because of the effects of the global supply. And while I understand there may have been cases that people have lost their lives as opposed on this global trade, and I don't wish any death upon anyone, and I really hope that Houdinis have not cost people's lives because of their actions. I also understand the reasons why they are doing it. They're trying to tell the world, you need to do something about Gaza. You need to do something about what's happening over there, because if you don't, we're going to continue to do everything in our power to disrupt what's going on the global stage. And that's what they are doing. Now, not only is, British retailers and UK retailers are going to be affected by this, not straight away, but as time passes on, because obviously it will have a massive effect on that, which in turn may lead to things going up in prices and even more, as if we're not already paying enough due to Brexit and everything else. But yeah, I mean, because we're not part of the EU single market, we have that added bonus of paying more anyway, as it is. So yeah, it's just not good. It's not good whatsoever. So yeah, British retailers, they didn't have the best of Christmas. They really did not. People don't have as much money as they do in their pockets. We're in a technical recession anyway, so this is just compounding what we're already going through in the UK. But it wouldn't have to be this bad if things were managed differently. Not just from an international stage, but obviously from a British point of view as well. So more than half of UK retailers and exporters have been affected by the disruption to the Red Sea trade from Houdini rebel attacks on cargo ships, research by a leading business lobbying group suggests. The price of shipping a container from Asia to Europe has gone up as much as 300% for some businesses, while logistical delays have added up to 3 to 4 weeks to delivery times, according to the survey by the British Chambers of Commerce, the BCC. The delays are creating a knock-on effect such as cash flow difficulties and component shortages on production line, according to participants in the BCC's poll of more than 1,000 companies, most of which were small and medium-sized businesses. Iran-backed Houthis, who control very much of northwestern Yemen, have been attacking merchant vehicles in the region since November in what they say is a show of support for Palestinians in the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. The US and UK have responded with their own strikes to protect international shipping on the routes, carrying out latest air assaults against 18 Houdini targets in Yemen this weekend, including weapon storage facilities, and the disruption shows no sign of ending. William Bain, the head of trade policy at the lobbying group, urged the government to look at providing support for exporters in next week's budget amid weakening global demand and higher costs. There's been spare capacity in the shipping freight industry to respond to the difficulties, which has brought us some time, and recent government data has also indicated that the impact has yet to filter through to the UK economy, with inflation holding steady in January, Bain said. But research suggests that the longer the current situation persists, the more likely that the pressures will start to build. Bain said it was difficult at a time for firms as the recent introduction of the government's new post-Brexit custom checks and procedures for imports from Europe has also been adding to the costs and delays. The UK economy saw a drop in its total goods exports in 2023, and with global demand weak, there is much need for the government to look at providing support in the March budget, he said. So they're suggesting, obviously, protecting these ships as they try to pass through is what they are suggesting. So this map here, guys, just for reference, this is a source from the Ministry of Defence, Maritime Traffic, the Guardian graphic here. And it shows here the UK and US launched more joint strikes on Yemen Houdini sites over the weekend. The RFF airstrikes were allocating multiple targets at 2 sites. The MOD said sites hit by Bain, which had previously targeted there. And obviously the colour in the bright orange or yellow, if you're partially colour blinded, this is the Houdini controlled territory, as basically said, and the rest is owned by the official government of Yemen, which is backed by the Saudi Arabia. The RFF aircraft used paveway IV position guided bombs against Houdini drones and launched there at a site several miles northeast of Sanda as well. So, yeah, it's not really having much of an effect at the moment. And just there at the bottom it says there's a location of a UK-owned cargo ship struck by Houdini missiles on Thursday as well. So on average, the cost of shipping goods from China to Europe more than doubled since December, as shipments must now travel around Africa rather than through the Suez Canal, a route that takes about 2 weeks longer. And not only does it take longer, this is also, it costs more fuel, and that means obviously using more fuel, which means bad for the environment. That's another thing as well. But also, if some of these goods have expiry dates on them, that means that there's a chance that they could expire. So again, these products could become less value, or they have no value at all. So all these things need to be taken into account when you're shipping, going all the way around Africa, guys. It's not ideal in any way, shape, or form. The supply chain bonds are expected to be exacerbated next month as China begins shipping again in earnest after its annual pause for the 2 weeks of Lunar New Year celebrations, which concluded on Saturday with the Lantern Festival. The current logjam has seen an increase in the use of air freight, with spot rates from China to Europe up 8% in early February and up 40% from China to the US, according to delivery aggressor Parcel Hero. David Jinks, the head of consumer research for Parcel Hero, said initially there was a scramble for aviation services. Businesses rushed to get products out before the Lunar New Year festivities began. Now the continuing demand for air freight on this route is because many ships are prohibited for the duration and containments are stuck firmly in Chinese ports until manufacturing ramps up enough to restore full services. Air freight enabled those companies manufacturing and operating in Asia to leapfrog the Chinese bottleneck. The credit rating agency Moody warned earlier this month that if prices remain high, retailers will see a material import on profitability by the end of 2024. The bomb in the Middle East comes as shipment via Panama Canal are also under stress as low rainfall has forced it to restrict traffic using its locks. Yeah, so the Panama Canal, that's obviously, for those who don't reference it, that is within Central America, owned by the country of Panama. It's been owned by the US for a very, very long time. Allows shipping between the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean there, allows ships to go in between them. and rainfall, which we do. Where there are some statistics that claim that it is tied into climate change, whether you want to believe it or not is one thing, but they are struggling when it comes to water in the lakes within Panama that are allowing it to continue using the Panama Canal lock that they use to traffic ships through and from. And it's a very it costs a lot of water to do that as well. Last year, more than a fifth, 22% of global seaborne containers passed through the Suez Canal, carrying goods including natural gas, oil, cars, raw material, and many manufacturing products and industrial components, according to a recent report by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD. By the first half of the month, 586 container vessels have been rerouted away from the canal, while container tonnage through the waterway fell by 82%. Yeah, this is a so you've got this problem taking place with the Suez Canal, and then you've got the within the Panama Canal, and then you have the situation here with in the Red Sea that is affecting disruption and trade within the Suez Canal. This is hampering global trade on a massive scale, but for everyone. Everyone is suffering as a result of this. Now, this can be prevented. We can stop this if we are willing to pull our finger out and actually do something about this with regards to what's going on in the conflict. Now, does it mean the Houthis? Do we know for absolutely certain that Houthi rebels will stop the attacks in the Red Sea? We honestly don't know. But until we actually do something about what's happening with Israel and Gaza, we don't know that. But the more this the more this drags on, the worse it's going to be for international trade. Never mind our own trade. And this will obviously, people will obviously say the effects of Brexit will be say, oh no, it's not because of Brexit, it's because of what's happening here and here. No, Brexit is going to add on to these impacts that are going to start coming through to the what's happening here in the UK economy. It will happen, and things are only going to get worse before they get better. So it's down to UK governments and international governments to working out ways to resolve these as quickly as possible for the benefit of all international trade. But guys, what do you think? What do you make of half of UK exports being affected by the Houthi disruptions? Do you think it's just the UK? Do you think it's a global thing? Should the Western nations, rather than trying to bomb the Houthi rebels, should they actually be listening to them and doing something to stop a ceasefire in Gaza instead? And do you actually think the Houthi rebels would actually stop the attacks in the Red Sea if a ceasefire was called? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button, we greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me in the work I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or you can even join me on Patreon or Rumble for exclusive content there as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.